welcome to The Perspective. I'm Lorie Hartshorn, and it's going to be a great day on The Perspective, not just because Mike's not here. Just kidding. I'm happy to sit in for Mike anytime. But we are going to be joined by two of Canada's most gifted creatives. So first up, we've got our country's most loved worship leader and songwriter, Brian Doerksen. I've been a fan of Brian. Actually, really, his music has moved my life over the years. He's the heart behind powerful songs like Come Now is a Time to Worship and Refiner's Fire, songs that have been sung at churches actually all over the world. Brian's a Juno and Dove Award winning artist, a filmmaker, a mentor to worship leaders and songwriters across the globe, and he's still creating. His new Love Songs album that just came out recently is called Love for a Lifetime. And his first single, We're Not Alone, released on just Valentine's Day a little while ago. And yes, he's heading on tour with our next guest, Marika Siewert, powerhouse director, actor, and recording artist based in Vancouver. She's had multiple top 10 hits on the radio. Her music's been featured on shows around the world. Get this, she appears on Netflix, Hallmark, and Apple TV. Marika's like, the triple threat. I'm sure she can sing, dance, and act. She directs award-winning content, recently worked on a new TV show. Marika and Brian, welcome to The Perspective.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks for having us.
you guys have too many things going on. The list is long.
It's so weird when you read that stuff. We're like, oh yeah, we're just two buddies doing our things.
And you know what? I just love what I see here. I love Brian. I'm going to say this because we're almost of the same age. Okay, so I can say this safely. I'm glad you're hanging out with someone young. I'm glad that you are doing this together. I'm glad the generations are serving together. Why did you choose to do that?
Oh, well, I was going to say because I'm smart, but that probably doesn't sound quite right. I mean, the thing is that Marika is an encourager. And I think at some of my lowest ebbs, we had connected through a project about 18 years ago. And so we've become friends, and she's watched the ebb and flow of an artist and all of the challenges. And just at key moments, she came along and said, "You're not done yet." And I'm kind of looking at her and going, in one sense, the exact same thing. I mean, she's a generation, one sense, younger than me, but she's just getting started, in a whole bunch of things. So it's very mutual.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing is that what we do is founded on our friendship first. And so there's not really any competition. We get to celebrate each other. We get to do a lot of our projects together, and we get to do a lot of things that we get to just dream up together and, see if we can do them or not.
You know what? I think you're setting a great example. I think it's an example of the kingdom of God. I just think, Jesus is smiling on this. I think the church needs to see this. I think believers need to see how we work well, generation to generation. Brian, you've spent over 35 years. That's a long time, my friend, writing songs. And you say you write songs that fill the gap. Like, what do you mean by that? And one of the things is this latest album is Love for a Lifetime. So how did that get started for you?
Well, yeah, thanks for asking that, because that really is my heart. Because from time to time, I'll take other people's songs and sing them as my own. But when I get this idea, it's like a seed. Songs start like a seed. And I go, we need a song that says, fill in the blank. And with Love for a Lifetime, it was, we were in the thick of early COVID. I had done a hymns project with my dad because I felt we really needed that in that season. That was finished, that was out, and I was like, the world is filled with songs about falling in love, but the world actually doesn't have many songs about staying in love and really telling the story and the emotions and the challenges and the beauty of a long, faithful love. There's just so many things that happen, and that can only happen when you stick with a partner for decades, through all of the different changes. And I just had this spark. We need some songs about that. And I'm so blessed by my wife, Joyce, and her long, faithful love with me for 40 years. And so I just started singing into that gap. I didn't tell her at first that I was doing it. It was like a secret, you know. I for months I started working on these songs and she didn't know, you know. And then that was a fun day when I told her, "Hey, I've been working on a little project
Wow.
to honor you and to also to honor other couples that have shared long love." And so that was the start.
That is so cool, Brian. So we do have something in common. My husband Dean and I were married 40 years this year.
Oh, congratulations.
So was it 85? Were you guys married in 85?
We were right at the end of 84.
Okay, you're just a little tiny bit ahead of us.
Yeah.
You know what? He needs to write me a song. So I'll just leave that. Marika, he actually is a songwriter. Anyway, Marika, how does it inspire you when you hear this? How many years have you been married? I watched your real life story music video. Did I get a glimpse of your husband and your kids and like beautiful, beautiful music, beautiful family? How does this inspire you when you hear that?
Yeah, well, what's funny about that song is it's one thing that Brian and I have in common is we love to sing love over people. And that was actually one of my first love songs that I wrote. And I wrote it because I didn't hear a lot of love songs that celebrated like real life marriages and real life families. And so that song was really a testament to my own marriage. At that time, I think we'd been married 10 or 12 years. We've been married like 23 years now. 23? Yeah. 24, almost 24 years. And yeah, my family, everything I do is for my family. I think we have a unique situation where all five of us, we work in film full time, and it's a huge thing to have representation on screen for us. Just kids need to see things on TV, people on TV that look like them, that sound like them, so they can dream. And I've been able to do music and film alongside my family. It's what we do together. We literally travel as families, even on tour together. And so I feel like families get a bad rep these days. Marriages and families just need to be back at the forefront, in a positive way. And so, yeah, they inspire everything I do. So,
I love that so much. So here's a question. You don't have like 10 hours, Brian, okay? But so I'm going to say, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in 40 years of marriage? And tell the truth because Joyce may be watching this.
Oh my gosh, to listen to my wife, you know, I think the thing is she has so many good ideas and she has so much wisdom, and she's not an artist per se. She's a very mechanical, earthy, practical person. But what's amazing is even with that, she can it's like she looks in at, say, a song I'm creating or something and goes, "Oh, you should probably consider changing that." And obviously, you know, there's the initial reaction. You was like, "Oh, I'm not so sure. I kind of like that." But I go, "No, take a step back and listen, really listen, because she always has my best interests at heart."
You know, I think that's the core of any good relationship, right? I mean, it's a tribute to your wife, but I need to listen to my husband too. I think it shows that we value the other person when we're willing to listen. Marika, what's your inspiration? What's your greatest lesson in your marriage, or what are you learning from your marriage and even parenting?
yeah,
So you have kids.
yeah, just they're not young anymore. They're actually more young adults. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is just to always have a heart to learn, to stay in a place of sort of gracious learning. I've said this many times before, but I always love it when you have mentors that are older than you and mentors that are younger than you. And because there's things that you can learn from just the wisdom of older people, but then also the wisdom of younger people, just with a different generation of experience. And so, yeah, I love keeping all generations around because I learn so much. So,
No, that's so great. And I love that you're traveling together. And we're going to come right back and talk about this tour that you guys are going on. You mentioned your families are with you. Do you travel? Will they come on tour with you?
Well, our spouses, of course, are with us, and Stacy and Marika's daughter Zoe, you know, who's 18 now, will be traveling and singing with us, and she is also one of those people I would say that mentors me too, right? Because every time I work with her or sing with her, she's an unbelievable singer. I learn something. It's just fantastic.
You know, they keep you sharp, right, Brian?
Oh, they keep us in line. For sure they do. Especially Zoe. Yeah.
You know what? It's beautiful. I love this. Well, we're going to come right back. We're going to learn about the Come Now is a Time to Worship tour. We're going to find out where you can join up, where you can get tickets and all the stuff. We'll be right back. Well, we're back talking about the Come Now is a Time to Worship tour. Brian, where are you going? How can people find where the tours are stopping? And Marika, tell us a little bit about what maybe audiences can expect when they come to the show.
Well, I want to start actually by saying this tour is Marika's idea. And because she was like, we need to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Come Now is the Time, that the work that that song, the surprising grace-filled work that that has done around the world. And it's been translated into so many languages. And, I'm German Mennonite by background. So like celebration isn't necessarily my mother tongue. It's like
He celebrates on the
yeah,
inside.
we joke sometimes like, I'm just kind of chill that way, but celebrating. So we're celebrating and we are doing concerts the May 21st. This week we're actually in Sarnia the 21st, Acton, Ontario on the 22nd, Toronto the 23rd of May, Ottawa the 24th of May, Montreal on the 25th.
And then we go to the Marathon?
Yeah, and then we carry on.
Keep going east.
And we do a bunch of concerts in the Maritimes through New Brunswick, PEI, and Nova Scotia.
That's right.
Amazing. What can we expect, Marika?
Yeah, you know what? For us, it's been a really incredible experience because we've been able to create our own concert environment, and so it's a very safe place for people to come. We did that intentionally. We really want people, especially people that even feel like they don't go to church anymore, but want to come celebrate these amazing songs. Like I grew up on Brian's songs as well, so we sing "We Find His Fire," "Faithful One." We're gonna be singing. He's gonna be singing some from his new album, "Love for a Lifetime," and those are actually some of the most special moments because these are songs that no one's ever really heard before. And now the album will be out, and he'll be singing them for the East Coasters. And yeah, it's a really special evening of songs and stories, and we have a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. Mar- Marika, I just think because of your background with film and even some comedy stuff, I think she brings stuff out of me that just makes me laugh.
Oh, he's so funny. People don't realize how funny he is. This is
And we just have it's both really tender and inspirational, but it's also funny. And there's just something about hearing the person who wrote a song sing the song in real life. It's like me when I hear Marika sing one of her songs and I've heard it on the radio or something, and all of a sudden there she is and she's singing, or people that a song like "Faithful One" has meant a lot to them over the years, and all of a sudden there I am. I wrote that in my bedroom 35 years ago, thinking I'm a first-time dad and I'm struggling with life and I'm just holding on to God's faithfulness. And then to be in the room with people that song has meant something to, and then to hear it, it's
singing it with them.
it
That's
completes the circle. We start out writing these songs in private, and then when we actually get to be out with people and then connect and then even hear their stories, it means a lot.
He's also a legend, and he doesn't really say that he's a legend to me, but I know it. And so when we go on tour, I'm like, people's lives have been changed by his music, and including mine. And so it's really neat to hear the stories of how his songs have really inspired and encouraged people across the country.
I think that's so good. I love that imagery of the circle because it's true.
Yeah.
When you're a creative, You're writing in private. You put it out in the world, and it's kind of a risky, I don't know if anyone will like it or even hear it or whatever, but you risk putting it out in the world. But to actually be in a room, it must be so meaningful to hear people, even like myself, to honestly, it's a privilege to be able to tell you that how much your songs have touched my own life and to sing them together. I see the intimacy here. I see the fun here. I love that. I encourage people to show up because don't you think that we're living more disconnected than ever, ironically? So sometimes going out to an event can feel like effort. But why? What happens? Like, why is that so important that we physically get in a room together?
It can change everything for people. You know, one of my wife, Joyce, she says night after night when we do these things, she watches people walk in the door. She greets them. She can see the weight on their shoulders. She can see the anxiety in their face. And then she watches as Marika and I just sing love over them, and we just serve them with these songs and these stories, and she watches it melt off them as the night progresses, and the way they look when they're leaving, they're so encouraged, you know, and you said it absolutely right. It does take some effort to go to a live event, but it's the only way that you're going to experience that
Community and
community, the life, the energy, the emotion. I don't even know, words fail me, what live music can do. It's like you're enveloped in this presence.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's the presence of love and God and everything, but it's also the presence of people, right? Marika, me, and our team, we're in it together.
Yeah, I love that. I think we have so much information bombarded at us all the time. We need experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that we're in an information that's like on online, digital, and quick. And I think one of the things, even for me, being in a very church environment, but we're singing songs of love, we're singing songs of hope, we're singing songs for people who are grieving, for them to be able to come and just be. And the quality of the songs, I think, is something that's always resonated for me because we have a lot of these, very shallow songs these days. And I think to have the rich history of what Brian's written over, the last few decades, to be able to sing that with people and watch that is pretty special. So.
Oh, it's awesome, guys. I do think, and let's not underestimate, God shows up. Like the Spirit of God shows up. Where two or three people are gathered in his name, he shows up, he's there. So I encourage people to go. How can they get tickets to participate in this great gathering that's going to happen all across Canada at different dates? Where can they find the info?
They just go to briandoerksen.com and click on the events tab, and then they can just find the location that's nearest them.
Perfect. What's your favorite thing and maybe most difficult thing, real quick, about touring? You're out on the road, you left home, you're traveling with a backpack and your family. Marika, what's the greatest, the fun, and the difficult?
Well, that is the fun thing, is traveling with our backpacks and our family. I mean, our families are the best of friends. And so to be able to do it together is definitely the most fun thing.
That's great. Brian, what about you? You've toured a lot. Does it?
It's the meeting people, and obviously it's the friendship that we're actually doing it as very close friends. So we feel very safe and comfortable with each other. But then when we get to do these events, and especially afterwards, meeting people face to face, keep completing that loop, so to speak, that it starts in private, but then you make that connection when they tell the story. I look in their eyes, we're face to face, we're right there. And I treasure each of those encounters, and that's that. Touring. I love being in my own bed at night. I love
Right.
home cooked meals. All of those things. You have to give up those things in order to have this experience worth it.
Well, may God bless you richly as you do this. And I encourage everyone watching, just go to briandoerksen.com, get tickets, show up, like be a part of this experience. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today on The Perspective.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Did you know you can stream our shows on demand? We are thrilled to announce the launch of our channel on Roku TV. You can now watch the Perspective shows anytime you like and navigate through a variety of playlists. How to find us? Simply search for the Perspective channel, find our logo screen, and save it under your channels of choice on your Roku selection menu. Don't miss out. New feature shows will be updated weekly.
Well, you've probably heard the expression, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Isn't that the truth? Whether it's those infomercials or those too good to be true deals, or maybe even some relationships have been a bit of lunch bag letdown. But we have an unintentionally applied that same skepticism to our faith, haven't we? I think sometimes we present the gospel like it's no fault insurance policy, salvation without any cost at all. We want Jesus to save us. We want our ticket to heaven. But are we actually willing to let him lead our lives? Are we ready for Jesus to be Lord? Let's take a look at Matthew 8, verse 18 to 22. Two would-be followers, they come and approach Jesus. And one is a teacher of the law, very religious person, who says, I'll follow you wherever you go. And Jesus' response is, well, foxes have dens and birds have nests, but I've got nowhere to lay my head. In other words, are you sure? You see, following me won't always be comfortable. Then the other guy says, well, I'll follow, but first let me go bury my father. And Jesus' response to that is, let the dead bury their own dead. You follow me. Now, at first you might think, ouch, that's a bit harsh. But Jesus isn't dismissing the importance of grief or even family. He isn't being cold. He's just being clear. He's confronting the excuses we often use to delay obedience. He's asking, will you follow me right now? Even if it costs you something, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's inconvenient. Because the truth is, following Jesus will cost you something. That's not always the popular thing to say, is it? But it's true. And Jesus was always upfront about that. In fact, he said in Luke chapter 9, verse 23, whoever wants to be my disciple, they must deny themselves, take up their cross daily, and follow me. And in Luke 14, he told the crowd to count the cost. Jesus wasn't trying to actually build a fan club. He was inviting people into a life of radical trust and surrender. See, the gospel's not just about what we're saved from. It's about what we're saved for. We're saved from sin, yes, but we're also called into a life of purpose and sacrifice and deep relationship with God. And here's the beauty of it all. Even if it costs us something, it's worth everything. In Philippians 3, verse 8, I love what Paul says. He says, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord. You see, everything is garbage, Paul says, compared to knowing Jesus. You see, Jesus offers the chance of a lifetime, but not everyone will say yes. Can you imagine standing in a crowd where Jesus was, the Son of God, right in front of you, and still walking away? Well, many people did, and many people still do. If you've ever turned down an invitation and later regretted it, you know that feeling. But the good news is it's never too late to say yes to Jesus. His invitation is still open. It's still extended, but he wants all of you, not just a Sunday version of you, not just your belief, but actually he wants your whole life. Many would say they actually believe in God, but that's not what's being asked of you here. Remember in James 2:19, it says, you believe there is one God. Good, even the demons believe that and shudder. So here's the question. Are you just a fan of Jesus, or are you a follower? Do you just believe that he existed, or are you willing to actually put your life in his hands and follow him? If you made that decision to follow him, whether it was 40 years ago or maybe just recently, can I encourage you to take a moment today and just reaffirm it? In what ways does your life reflect that you actually are his follower, that you know him personally? What have you laid down for the sake of following Christ? Maybe it's a relationship, a job, maybe it's involvement in extra things that take you away from serving Jesus. Maybe it's more serious than that. For many around the world, it is. A few years ago, I was on a mission trip in India. I was actually teaching evangelism to a school of boys when I asked them what they might fear in sharing their faith, and the room was silent. I thought they didn't understand the question, so I asked the interpreter to repeat it, and then one hand raised in the back of the room, and he simply said he was afraid of dying. I realized in that moment that the cost of following Jesus for those young men was high. They were raised in villages and communities that were hostile to the gospel. It made any cost I had faced in my life seem so small. What about you? What are you willing to sacrifice to follow Jesus? Will you follow him with your whole life, with your heart today? Because that's his invitation to you.
So I remember a time in my life when I was a teenager when I just felt so filled with hopelessness and brokenness. I had no one that I felt was a real friend and nowhere that I felt that I could turn. And at a desperate time in my life, as I was going through some of the court systems for some of the things I had gotten involved in, I stole a car and it ran away from home. Or my idea was to get across the country and get a job in British Columbia and go and see the world on a boat. And I didn't get very far, but in the back of that car was a book that introduced me to Jesus, and my life was radically transformed in that very moment as I understood that Jesus died on the cross for me, and that was when hope entered my life.
What a great show, eh? I was certainly inspired by Brian and Marika. And just to hear this message of love for a lifetime, I hope you go to their concerts. I just think it's such a beautiful experience to immerse yourself with other people. Like, let them sing over you, let them encourage you. And not just songs of love to God, but love for each other. How are you doing in your marriage? How are the relationships going? It can be tough, right? Well, we're here for you. We want to pray with you. 24 hours, 7 days a week, our prayer lines are open. I want you to call 1-855-910-6297. There's trusted prayer people on the end of that call, and they want to serve you today. So whatever you're going through, I want you to call us. Maybe you need encouragement for your job or situation. Maybe it's for your marriage. And we have a wonderful resource. That's actually a monthly devotional that Mike puts together. It's rich. It will keep you encouraged and focused each day. And a way that you can support this ministry is send us a gift of $5 or more. And that gift will enable us to produce more content, to send this gift out to you, and you'll receive this devotional in the mail. So why don't you call us 1-855-910-6297 or go to theperspective.tv and you can sign up there. We thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your support of this ministry. Again, get the word out to others. Share the show with those that you love and care about. I'd encourage you to get to that concert this week and know that you're deeply loved by God. Thanks for watching today.